Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by Gregory and Dayna.
Hi.
Older and fartier Dayna.
That's right.
Before you came here, she's like, it's getting worse. And I think it's getting worse for Greg, too, because literally so we watched one episode last night and one right before we came on. And during both episodes, he was like, why is she so angsty? Oh. He's like, she makes me so uncomfortable.
I forgot.
Yeah, teenager. Literally.
But I already forgot if I said it already, but we're back discussing My So-Called Life. Tonight we're discussing episodes 2 and 3. So I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So Angela's parents, the mom is kind of feeling the disconnect between her and her husband. It's just kind of like same thing every day. Wake up and
oh man, this whole thing just made me feel like it was just like the men are from Mars, women from Venus conversation. Like, I want you to want to do the dishes type scenario. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. It was like
when she says something like, "You don't kiss me goodbye anymore," and he was like,
he
kind of was like, "What's the point?" Because kissing, in his mind, kissing should lead to more.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, I just want to kiss goodbye.
Yeah, it's like she's trying to tell him,
yeah,
we don't connect. Like, there's no affection, because that's what people do when they love each other. They kind of like, especially if they're particularly touchy-feely. Some people aren't. That's okay, but obviously they were at one point. Now they are not.
Right.
And I hate when guys do this thing where they just like kind of gas you. He was gaslighting her. He knows there's something wrong, but he's gonna pretend like she's crazy. Like, oh, what are you talking?
But then I don't know if it's the same scene or if it's like another morning, but he does kiss her very passionately, which kind of like turns her on, I guess, because she's kind of like, whoa.
Yeah. Like, all the talking about how it's supposed to, like, he expects it to lead because like he doesn't want to kiss her because he doesn't have time to have sex with her, essentially, is what he's saying. Is like, we don't have time to have sex, so like, why would I kiss you?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we don't have to kiss like that. And he was like proving a point, I think, at the end, saying like, oh, so we can't kiss. And then he like really plants one on her, and he's like, so I guess we don't want to have sex now, right? All right, later.
So then fast forward, she's like confiding in her friend everything, and I guess her
sister,
friend. I think that, see, I was confused because Angela's childhood friend, who she's not speaking to right now, I thought that was her mother.
It was her mother, and so it's like I thought they were friends.
That's why she wouldn't come in the house while the adults were talking, like, because she came to get something, and the friend was just hanging out outside by the car because they're not friends anymore.
She was also talking to the guy Brian, the next door neighbor Brian. All three of them must have been really close friends as kids.
Yeah, so I think it's funny that Angela's childhood best friend, like, their like moms were childhood best friends. It looks like.
I assumed it to be. I mean, it'd be cool if they're also cousins. Like, that would make them cousins instead of just friends.
Yeah, but they haven't alluded to them being related at all in 3 episodes, so I'm just gonna go with friends.
Yeah, it's only episode 2, so I mean, who knows? It could be either one.
But apparently, I can't remember her name. The friend's mom knows everything because she told her everything about why they're not talking and how Angela's been acting. And Angela's mom's like, wow, she knows more than I do because I don't know any of this. Like, and she's also confiding in her. She's like, I think I want to cut my hair short. And she's like, no, men like longer hair, and they like it. They like their women to wear red, and that's what it says in all the magazines.
Magazines were desperately trying to come up with an excuse on why you can't read men. So they tried to like put all the blame on the women
Yeah.
They have to do this,
Cosmopolitan.
they have to do that, instead of the men just being like, this is what I want, this is what I need.
Sounds like every issue of Cosmo,
Absolutely.
like how to turn your man
110%.
on.
110%. For a second there, I thought you were going to explain what magazines are because they don't really exist.
So
It's all digital.
picture this. Imagine, you know, like when you go over your grandma's house and she has books on the shelves that you're still not allowed to touch. Well, there used to be these thinner books that would get into your house and you were allowed to touch it, and it had update useless information.
And then you lick your finger, and then you go like this.
It was a very tactile 1990s.
Yes. For the younger viewer, they were called magazines.
Yes.
So Angela's mom brings.
Wait, people know what magazines are.
No, digital.
No, they don't.
Books are not Kindles or ebooks.
When I go
magazines are on iPads these days.
But when I go to the doctor, they have magazines. I will say it's very funny because I obviously don't have any magazines, and everything is online, of course. But
all right, that's the point. Let's stay on track.
Sorry, I'm having I was born in the 1900s issues.
It's okay. I was on the same wavelength. I was like, magazines, what are they? People probably don't even know.
So Angela's mom brings up the whole haircut thing at dinner, which we now meet the husband's brother that he was supposed to be hanging out with twice last week, but he met up with that woman.
Yeah.
Which I totally forgot about.
Yeah. So like his brother is legitimately like kind of rubber stamping, kind of like he has to know at least a little bit because like if he's claiming to be there.
Yeah.
That's what a brother would do. He would at least do his brother a solid and tell him what he's lying about.
I don't think the brother did know because it sounds like he found out in this episode.
Oh.
Because they had like a private conversation in the kitchen and he's like, there was this girl, I think he was like, she grabbed me by the
You're
top.
right. You're right. I do. It's all coming back to me now because that conversation was actually pretty.
It's all coming back to baby.
I already have one strike against me on this.
That's fast forwarding. That's fast forwarding. We want to come back. Rewind. This poor mom. She's just literally. I feel for her because she's just like, I want to do something different with my hair, and I want my support of my family members to do it, and they're all like, "Ew, don't cut your hair or do whatever you want. We can care less about you."
Right. So then she comes up with the idea of ballroom dancing.
Right, it was her friend because I think her friend was like suggesting like to her like things you could do to kind of spice up your life, not like in that like lame way, like because she said that when she did it with her husband, it's like, well, you've been touching each other like all night, so you get yourself all together. And I'm like,
right.
So ballroom dancing was really big around circa 1900. Line dancing, square dancing. So ballroom dancing
like
was
actually 1900.
No, 1990s. The 1990s. So, thanks. Ballroom dancing was probably what most married people did. Line dancing and square dancing is obviously what married people did, but also people that weren't together would go and learn how to line dance. I did that a few times.
I guess that didn't work out for you.
I'm not gonna lie, Tommy. It probably was popular both in the year 1900 and 1950.
Hey, what's good always comes back.
Well, it's cyclical, you know.
Which the father is not like receptive to at first, but then I think the conversation with the brother happens in the kitchen and he's like, don't do this, you have a good marriage, you have a family, don't do this, cancel the plans, because he says he's supposed to meet up with this girl at a motel like in a week or whatever. He's like, don't do this. He's like, go ballroom dancing. So then he says, fine, I'll go ballroom dancing. Like, and she's just like, really? I'm like, who wants to go with somebody that agrees with fine? Like, obviously you don't want to do this, but okay.
Right. Well, that's the thing. His brother was doing him a genuine solid, in my opinion. Like
Mhm.
giving him good advice. Don't do this because you're in a perfectly happy relationship. You're just bored.
Right.
Spice it up a little bit with something else in your life.
Right.
Which, so he goes for it. So I'm happy to hear it. But dang.
So I guess we could put a pin in them for a second and go to the high school. The kids are trying to get Angela a fake ID. And I guess Rayanne is on like a social level with Jordan Catalano where she just like approaches him and starts talking to him without the pause that Angela has.
She has
kind of like God.
Yeah, she just has really big ovaries.
She has big ovaries.
Nothing gets in her way.
Well, she's talking to Angela and she's like, I think I can get you an ID or whatever. She's quite literally BSing her entire way through all of it. That's how I noted. Like, to me, it's all lies. Like, she's just like, I can do so, and then goes for it. So she's just there banging on some sort of vending machine, and he happens to like walk around, and she's like, hey, can I talk to you about my friend?
Me, he was like, how much did you lose? She's like, I didn't put anything in. She was just trying to bang it to get something out of it.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so quirky. I'm definitely like paying attention to her little things that she does because it means something.
Like there's some stuff that's wrong with this girl though.
Yeah.
Like, you could feel it. Like
so she says that she needs to get a fake ID for Angela. And there's this guy Tino they keep bringing up. I guess he's the one that gets the fake IDs and he's friends with Jordan. So meanwhile, in class, Angela's like daydreaming like she does. Oh no. They're doing dissections. Right?
Heart.
And Brian's her lab partner. And Rayanne in the doorway like kind of waves her out, and when the teacher like has her back turned, she like runs out of the classroom. And I looked at him because I'm like, would you not notice if a student was just like missing? Like
the teacher did notice. I'd like to defend the teacher for a second. She did notice.
She did. And
she did. She clocked.
Brian said that she had to go to the bathroom or she didn't feel good or something. And the teachers just kind of accepted it because they were dissecting hearts.
That'll do it.
So Brian is like doing some extra credit project and he says that Angela is helping him with it, which she's not. So her ex-best friend is like, why are you going to do all the work and let her get the credit? So he's kind of standing up to her by being like, I'm not. So he like confronts Angela and is like, you need to help me with this project. So then Rayanne and Ricky are there, and I love how they just kind of like, they're just like, I don't know, crows just like flocking around the whole conversation. And he's like, my parents are out of town. He's like, we can work on it tonight. And so she's like, this is perfect. We get Jordan to come over tonight to drop off the ID, and you can have alone time with him and like fuck him or something. I don't know.
That's a very good point, Tommy. Like, what was the end goal here? Just to talk to him? That's all we wanted, or just some alone time? Like,
I think it was alone time.
Like the episode opened up with her kind of remembering all the kisses she's had in her life. So I'm wondering.
Oh yes, that was it out.
Yeah, like
bad for poor Claire Danes having them kiss all these guys that she probably only met once.
Yeah.
And she's like young herself as an actress.
Not only that, like first one was like super inappropriate because it's like a counselor, like a camp counselor, which is like 3 years older, and he had a girlfriend, so it was super inappropriate. Second one was a bet, which is really heartbreaking to hear, and third was CPR.
The one from the wedding was a bet?
That's what I remember saying. Like, I found out like she was excited, they kissed, but it turns out he was only kissing her because of a bet or whatever. That's what she said. And I was like, wow. So yeah, and so I'm thinking that like maybe that's the end goal here is like she wants to kiss him, but like
I think she just wants to be able to be next to him.
Yeah, like anything. She was looking for anything, really.
Anything.
but I know how she treated her, like every single person. Brian, her old ex best friend, she treated them like dog shit, and I'm like, that is just so uncool. I hated it. I'm like, I don't really like Angela. It's weird. She's the main character. I'm supposed to love her. I don't really like her. She's so mean.
So Angela tries to get permission from her mom to go next door to study with Brian, and she's eavesdropping on the conversation with her parents, and the mom thinks that maybe her and Brian have a thing, or she has a crush on Brian, and I'm like, she so does not have a crush on Brian. You so don't know what's going on.
No, knows nothing about what's going on, but like, not she trying. That woman is trying
so hard.
like to be there. And Angela's like, no, ew.
I mean,
gross.
in their
And
own
then
ways, they're both good parents to her. They both have like the father seems to have a nice relationship with her.
yeah.
So she gets the permission to go. I think Ricky and Rayanne showed up with Jordan, but they went inside first. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I think so.
Jordan doesn't really know what's going on. He thinks it's about the ID. He thinks Tino is meeting them there. He mentioned some band, and he's like, "Is this about the band?" And Rayanne and Ricky are like, "Sure, we'll go with that." And I didn't really understand what the project was. There was like a mouse and like a beaker.
Yeah, there was just some intense project that Brian was doing for extra credit that he, in an attempt to shield Angela from getting in trouble, made her a part of it. So like, that she was going to be able to have the extra credit for her grade or something like that. So, and that's why he conned her into doing this thing with her. But she was like, I didn't say that I wanted to be a part of it. You did this on your own. It's like, well, he saved your ass. Like, freaking jerk.
So there were two instances that I took notes. They were really quick moments, but I'm like banking them. So one was when Angela starts to like have cold feet about this. She's like, yes. what if this isn't what I really want? She's like, what if like I get it and it's not what I wanted? She's like, I just like, maybe me wanting him is just like what gets me through the day. Like it's a reason to get up and go to school. And Ricky says something like, I get that feeling. So I went, okay, pin on that. Because then he says the exact same thing later. I think they said something about the mouse. Every time the mouse breathes, it builds pressure. And he said something like, I get that also. And I'm like, he keeps saying that. I'm like, there's something going on with Ricky.
Something is happening with Ricky.
Yeah.
And I get like, it's the fantasy. So she built up this fantasy about Jordan to be this specific person. Just kind of how like, it's so weird because when we watch Dawson's Creek, I see so many parallels in the storyline. Too. It's so odd. It's hard for me not to compare. But it's like this obsessive fantasy of what the relationship could be like, or what he could be like to her, or what their relationship could be like. That like she actually meets the person and gets to know Jordan legitimately on who he is, that bubble could burst and it's all ruined, like it's all gone. So like she's being actually really profound and like looking inward. So
but I'm thinking, I'm like, girl, you'll just find another boy to be obsessed, and that'll be your reason for getting them.
Very true. That's very, very, very true. She'll just move on to the next obsession,
Yeah. She's so hypersexual without even understanding what it means. Like every time like he gets, it is just very interesting in the dynamics that's kind of happening, and inappropriate dynamics on how she is. I don't want to use the word luring him in, but she's allowing him to come to him, and then when he gets a little bit closer, he then is inappropriate by getting too close, and she realizes, no, that's not what I want, and immediately puts up that wall. And this is this like weird dynamic that's like kind of mixed message.
She flip-flops a lot.
Yeah, she does.
He's outside. Like, he's like, get in the car. She's like, I don't really have time to go anywhere. And he's like, no. He's like, just get in the car, like to sit or whatever. So she does. She gets her ID and she's like, wow, it looks really real. And he just like goes in for the kiss.
Yeah, like wrong.
And she's like, whoa. Right. She's like, I was talking.
Right.
Wrong.
But it's true though, if you think about it, like he just kind of assumes, like there's a lot of assumptions he's making just based on her, probably from prior experience with other girls of the same age. Like, but she's like, excuse me, like I understand I may be obsessed with you, but I didn't ask you to kiss me. I wasn't inviting you to kiss me at this moment. Like
Well,
you're
she
not
was
even, I
in
don't
her
know.
head. And that's
Yeah.
the interesting thing that like that I think this is where sometimes the writers get a little mixed up, because we as the viewers are in her head and she's like, kiss me, kiss me, kiss me. Not that that's what's happening at this moment. You know, yes, I want you to kiss me, but then there really is that, you know, no, you didn't hear me. I didn't give you permission. Back away.
Well, she was like, I was talking, and then she's like, she literally was like, you have to work up to that. No, she's like, you have to work up to that. She's like, and then he like waits a few more seconds. He tries again, and she's like,
well,
whoa,
3 seconds is a lifetime in a boy's life.
I think he even asked, how old are you? And when she says 15, he says, you act younger.
That's insulting.
Yeah.
That was done on purpose.
But she's like, I hate him.
I feel like, I feel like all of this is super telling though.
She's just like annoyed and like, I hate him. And then she's like, I don't think he noticed, but in that moment, his jacket was touching my arm. Like she lived last. She's like, I hate him. He's touching me. Oh my god.
The yo-yoing of this girl's mind that's why this show's kind of amazing, because it is so incredibly true. Like all of this is so real to the experience. Like
that car scene that he was like was when he first was like, she's so awkward. He's like, this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that is how truly awkward it really is in real life. Because like there's this, if you think about it, she's fighting against like her childish nature that she's growing out of, right? And all of the things she knows that she's been told, drilled into since birth, like on how to act around boys or whatever, but then having this incredibly big physical urge to be physical at the same time. So like if you can imagine just the constant this and this and this and this, because she physically wants to be near him because her whole body lights on fire just from the brush of his like exactly. But then her brain kicks in like right before her loins take her the distance to go, hey.
Yeah.
Like, let's hold on a little bit. Like, I feel like that whole scene, like the scene from where she freaks out in the kitchen to like when she finally gets the nerve to go outside and talk to him, is like her own clarity moment from a haze of obsession and weirdness that built up to this whole situation we get with. She like goes, this might be the worst idea I've ever come up with, like, you know, to do this. And I shouldn't do it. But it's the best thing she could have done with Jordan, because if she just would have given in and kissed him and everything, she would have been just like anybody else that he met. But now because she didn't, she's like a mystery girl that has like control of her body. And he's like, hey, I need this mystery, you know?
So, I think it was right after she was like, oh my god, I don't think he noticed, but his jacket was touching my arm or whatever, that they have this moment where there's a few seconds of them kind of like looking at it. He does his whole like closed eyes, and then he kind of like looks at her, and I think she thinks he's gonna like go in slowly now, but he's really just reaching over to open the door for her to get out of the car. And I think that's when she's like, I hate him.
Shit.
You're just screaming at the top of your lungs, run, girl. This is not worth it. He is hot. I get it, but get out. It's not worth the trouble. I promise you. It may be good now, but it will not be good forever. Just get the hell out of here.
Oh God, just those 3 minutes made me need to take like something for angina.
Is that why you're older and partier?
Yes.
It was giving me angina.
Like, yes, the cringe factor of this episode was so high. I can't, like, it's literally going, oh God. It's like reliving your most embarrassing high school moments. Right. That's what it feels like by watching this girl. But the thing that kills me is that I want to fall in love with her, but I can't, because she's so shitty to like literally everyone except for like 2 people
Right.
that are her friends, and that's it. She treats her mom like crap. She's okay with her dad from time to time, but every like her neighbor who has her back,
Yeah.
like
Legit.
the entire time. No, bye, Brian. Leader. It's like,
Something I did take note of was like when they were coming up with this plan, they were in the bathroom and Ricky was in the girls' bathroom again, and there were other girls there that just accept it. And I kept hearing your voice saying, "He's a safe boy. He's a safe boy."
safe boy. The girls can be safe with him. That's the best. And you can figure out the yeah, whatever it means.
So at the ballroom dancing classes, the mom shows up and she's completely chopped up all her hair.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she looked great, honestly.
I thought so too. She looked real good.
She was wearing a red dress.
Not everybody,
because men like women in red.
not everybody can pull off that haircut.
Yeah,
they cannot. Everybody.
The spotlight felt like the actress either cut her hair or wanted to cut her hair, so they just wrote it in.
Oh, but the father does not handle it well. None of them do. They're not. Nobody.
His response is, "We can see your ears now."
Wow.
And she's just like, "What?"
Instead of "you're beautiful, you look wonderful, you're still feminine," all the things that she needs to hear. I could see your ears.
Just, I love it. It looks nice.
I thought it made her look younger, honestly. I felt like the long hair was kind of weighing her face down. So
I'm telling you, that hair texture is what you do with a pixie cut when it's nice and straight, hinge straight all the time. Like no matter how much you want to curl it, it'll never curl. The pixie cut is the best kind of cut for that.
I actually would have loved to see it a little bit shorter.
Even shorter.
He has a picture of her on his iPad pulled up with the short hair.
Yeah, like because I think there was like definitely at this point, like women went for the shorter hair look kind of deal.
They did,
and I really felt like they didn't go short enough.
They did. Because the short hair.
Eventually, like a little soon after, it like got definitely shorter, pixie cut, and it looked beautiful.
Yeah,
I think I love it.
I always want to. I'm never gonna be able to. My hair is way too thick.
So they are doing the ballroom dancing, and they're not good. They don't have any rhythm. I feel like they're both trying to lead.
They're both tops.
Which speaks to her being, a strong, independent woman. I feel like she's just asserting herself like she usually does.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And she's getting really upset because they suck at ballroom dancing. They're not connecting. It just speaks to the fact that they're not communicating.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this was like a free assessment. And the instructor pretty much tells her that they're both tops. And then maybe they would benefit from dancing with other people, like in a group setting. And she's like, why would we take classes together to dance with other people? Like she wants to do it so that they can be touching each other. And
so that was classic foreshadowing of an outside person understanding that there's a problem in this relationship.
Yeah.
It's like hanging a lantern on things they both already know to be true.
Yeah, and
they've been
the outside person. Yep, just was like, yeah, it's true.
See this? This is your relationship. It's horrible. Can you tell? It's not good. You guys got to work on it.
Yeah.
Earlier in the episode when her friend was over, she mentioned like her was a Cinderella statue.
Mm-hmm.
And she says I always loved that when we were kids.
Oh, is that what she said? I see. This is where I got a little confused. Did she say?
She said I was 12, you were 11. I could see because I was kind of like,
You were 12, you were 11. Dad gave you this.
Yes.
Is that why
that
the
made me go.
sister thing
Well,
came
I don't know. I really don't.
from? I have to rewatch it. Google
Because
it.
that was the line where that confused me too, but it didn't add up with everything else I was seeing, so I just kind of like let it go. But I know I could see where his confusion is.
Oh, thank you very much for thank you for understanding my confusion.
Anyway. So Angela ends up apologizing to Brian. She says she's not going to take the credit because he did all the work. Jordan left, but then he came back to see if Tina was there. But I almost feel like he just used that as an excuse to see if Angela was outside again. So, like you said, he's intrigued by the girl that won't kiss.
Mystery girl that can control her body and tell me what's up. Ooh, I like balance. Girl, get out.
Mom and Dad go home. She's upset that they can't dance, and she actually, out of frustration, throws her Cinderella statuette and breaks it. And he like comforts her and he says, "Let's dance," and they end up having sex.
How do we know they had sex? They stopped to light
the candle. There was a candle lit.
So as the after the deed is done and they're laying in post coitus, it starts off panning to the left of the bed. As it pans across the nightstand, the candle is lit, and the two of them are now in afterglow.
It was great, wasn't it?
The props person should have been shot.
If you think about it, that's all they needed. They just need a little sesh, a little bang sesh. Get it out, work it out. He's fine now. You don't need none of that. You don't need no side piece. He's good.
Golden baby.
Yeah.
Brian notices that Angela's ID says that she was born that day. Like, it has that day's date on it.
Of course, because he is the smart one, and everybody else isn't.
Meanwhile, she's like, it looks so real.
Also, didn't Raylan say that she was from France?
Yeah.
Speak English.
Yes.
Because even she, even she knew she had to sell her awkward friend.
Yeah, she's like, she doesn't know how Americans act or whatever.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Meanwhile, he's spoken to her before, so he knows she's not friends.
He's like,
that's what I mean. Like, it was so funny to have her like come up to the car and like talking to him. It was like, does she even know that she's supposed to? Oh, Jordan.
Oui.
So Angela goes home and she grabs some like cold spaghetti out of the refrigerator. She wasn't even going to warm it up. She was just going to eat it cold. And the dad comes down in his robe post coitus and he warms it up for her. He has a little something to eat. They discuss boys and her awkward, like, she's like, there's no boy, you know, she's just very like shaky. Like, she doesn't want to talk about it, but she'll share with her father because it's daddy.
Like when teenagers basically do this with their hair.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh. Yes. Oh, I'm invisible. Wait. You can't see me. I'm invisible.
No one will know.
And then she would tuck it behind her ears. Nice job, Claire Danes.
Mom,
but that's what emo boys did. They got their bangs so long they could hide behind it. Like
she did it so well.
Mom comes down, sees them eating, and she's like, we need to get to bed because it's late. So then he's like, I'll clean up. Angela goes upstairs, and then Dad goes to make a phone call, but Angela comes back down and hears him. She keeps catching him talking to this girl. But he's canceling. He's canceling the plans. He's not going to go through with it.
This
I don't need no side piece anymore. That's one.
I don't think this is the end of it. I just feel like it was there for a reason. Well, don't think about it.
It was
Not over.
200 years ago. I don't remember.
And he sees Angela as he's hanging up, and he's just like, "You're never gonna get up for school tomorrow," and he like leaves, and she just kind of stands in the kitchen looking at her fake ID. The end.
He lines past her so quickly, like, don't ask me any questions, goodbye, and then runs away.
So part of me is like, did she understand what was happening in the pilot, that she was crying to her mom, or was it just like everything at the end? Because she doesn't seem
I think it was over.
She doesn't seem to be like talking about it in her head where she's like perseverating over it.
What, that dad's having
The
an
dad
affair?
might be having an affair.
I think she is so self-centered that it is literally just an outside blimp in the outside part of her realm in her world, and she doesn't even. It's an outside blip.
Or do you think it's because dad's the favorite parent, that if they got divorced, she would pick daddy, like she did on dad's side kind of situation?
I think she's so. No. I think she is so self-centered.
Yeah,
So I feel like it's a situation where it's kind of like it's at a crescendo still, because like I think if she was listening to the conversation, she probably would have heard him saying like, "I can't do this. I'm not doing this. This is not happening. Like it's not happening. It's not your fault. It's not happening." So she's probably kind of like maybe going, "Okay, it's over." Like she's like, "It's over. I don't have to think about this anymore." Maybe it was going on in the background, but now it's like properly filed away. Dad's good. It's not over. We all know it's not over. But like, and then she can move on to her life, back to regularly scheduled programming kind of thing for her now. But I think she like understood. I think it was a part of what was happening in the pilot. Like I think everything at school, and that was just a cherry on top of the sundae. And she felt bad for her mom for once in her life.
So even though like they were doing the whole angsty Jordan stuff, I didn't feel like it was as heavy as the pilot. The pilot felt very angsty and heavy, and like this felt a little bit lighter, maybe because they were focusing on the adults more, or it was even 50-50.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think also like the stakes weren't very high during this episode. Like
Angela didn't cry. She wasn't crying at all in this episode.
Right. Like the pilot, Lynn could have gotten raped, assaulted in a parking lot. Like, and she got in the back of a cop car. Like this episode was really like, oh, she could get a D in science or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the stakes were not very, very high.
Yeah.
Next episode though.
Episode 3, it was very heavy. They dealt with a lot, and it was very cringy and uncomfortable for me, because a lot of the things that they touched on, knowing in a few years what happens in the real world, I was just like, oh, this does not age well at all.
Yeah. This episode that's coming up, we're going to talk about, hit a lot of things that made me go, oh, so that's how we got where we are today. Good job, everyone. We did it in the early 90s. We really weren't working it out for ourselves, were we, guys? Oh.
So the episode opens, they're watching either a documentary or actually watching the footage of John F. Kennedy's assassination. She's like, my mom knows exactly where she was when it happened. She's like, every woman her age seems to know that. She's like, every generation seems to have something that they know exactly where they were, except mine. And I'm just like,
I'm so jealous.
And I'm like, great, because like I know what my generation remembers. Like in 2001.
Well, only a handful of years, not 2001's coming, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was in 11th grade, second period, 8:00 a.m. Like,
yeah, it literally, yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, really? And then Brian has to use the bathroom, and we see what looks like Ricky getting bullied, and I'm like, oh god, we're dealing with bullying now, poor Ricky. And then we hear a gunshot, and I'm like, we're dealing with gun violence also, all in the same episode? Like, what the hell is happening in 1994? Like, I was just like, what?
Well, we kind of touched upon it in the previous pot, like our last episode, like because I was saying like Columbine. I'm not exactly sure when that
Yeah,
exactly
we
happened.
were saying like the angst was building, and like
very much so. So it's like that was like all that stuff is what I was thinking about during this. I was like, oh, dude, like it feels so. And also, like just knowing what's happened even from then till now is just this whole thing makes it go, oh, so this is how parents handled it. Great. Now we worked that out so well for the future. Good job, everyone.
So Brian saw Ricky getting what he looked like he was getting bullied. And it looks like maybe Ricky had a gun on him because has been being bullied and to protect himself. And the gun got dropped and shot a soda can in a locker.
That girl, I was thirsty. I was thirsty. I almost went to go get my soda.
That's all she cared about.
Oh my god! Oh,
what if I was thirsty?
I was near that soda. It was my soda they shot.
Oh my god, you shot my soda.
She was like, I was by my soda 10 minutes ago. Like, if I had just been standing there drinking my soda, like, what would happen to me?
Oh, you know how with every trauma or crazy horrific event, there's always someone there that says, oh, I happened to know someone that was there that one time. It was very PTSD in this episode. You know, lots of flashbacks to those types of things that's happen in your life one way or the other, you know.
And then meanwhile, there's also a rumor going around that Angela and Jordan slept together. And at first I'm like, did Rayanne make this up to make her like more popular? Like I felt like something Rayanne would have done. And then I thought, did her childhood ex-best friend do this to her because she's mad at her?
Maybe. But of course Angela could care less about a gun being shot in her school.
Right.
Around a friend, mind you. She only cares about the rumor about whether she had sex with Jordan or not.
Yeah. So we get another girls' bathroom scene that's packed now because everybody's panicking over the gunshot, and Rayanne's just like, it's not the first time. Everybody brings guns to school. Like she's making so light of this. Like, you know, everybody's packing. She's like, it's not the first time. And she even goes bang, and people scream just from her saying bang. And Ricky's in there. And I did clock a blonde girl in the background rolling her eyes at him, like, what are you doing here? And I was like, okay, she doesn't like him being in there.
Well, she could be a bigot, so.
So yeah, Angela's mom is freaking out. She's like, what are we gonna do? She's like, I'm gonna drop you off at school. And the dad's like, well, it happened at school. We can't be with her all day. Like, and she's like, you are not driving me to school. She's like,
Mom, you're not driving me to school.
Like, I can't let everyone know I have parents. Gross.
Yep.
And the mom's just like, what do we do? Like, should we send her to private school? And there's apparently going to be a board meeting, which the mom goes to without the dad, which I thought was weird that she went by herself.
Well,
typical.
She's the top.
And there's this very outspoken woman there that gets the whole crowd riled up. And we find out that that's Rayanne's mom. And she must have studied the younger actress because she has all of her mannerisms. She jumps up and is very like erratic, like Rayanne is.
Yes.
I feel like this kind of contradicts what we think Rayanne's parents' relationship with her is. It seems like she doesn't have parents that are home a lot, but then in this episode, it sounds like she tells her mom everything because her mom knows everything about Angela being in love with Jordan Catalano.
Right, but it could be a situation where the mom and the parents are too much of friends versus parents. They kind of let their
True.
kids do whatever because it's like they're kids. Let them live their lives, kind of way. A little too loose, a
Right.
little too loose on the parents thing. And Angela's mom's a little too tight. Like she tries to put a little too much control. She needs to pull back, and Rianne's mom is like, "Nah, let her do whatever. Let her do her thing."
It almost
Like,
seems
ma'am?
like Angela's mom was enamored by Rayanne's mom, and which is funny because she didn't like Rayanne in the pilot. And she
I
seems
think
to be excited that Rayanne is like obsessed with Angela, and that's all she talks about. Like she was kind of like, "Huh, someone's obsessed with my daughter."
yeah. Like Angela, I think is a good influence on Rand, but the other way around, not so much.
Yeah.
But like it's I think Angela's mom is more like, oh, this girl has a mother, Shaw, and then second, it's like, oh, you know things about my daughter and her friend that I don't know about. Another situation where she's like, I don't know anything about my kid. Like, I don't know what's going on with their lives.
Yeah.
I didn't know she liked a boy. I don't know any of that stuff. Like, she finds out everything from this girl. She's just like, oh yeah, she's just telling me. It's no big deal. It's like Angela just is icing her out every step of the way. She's not allowed to know anything about her life.
Well,
Ugh.
when her mom says, "Oh, like, do you like somebody named Jordan?" and she tries to play dumb, she's like Jordan Catalano, like who are you talking about? Oh, like I don't know anybody named Jordan. And she's like, I don't have a boyfriend. Stop talking to me about this.
What? Who? Jordan? Is his name like Catalano or something? Oh my god, I don't.
And then she's like super mortified that like Rayanne's mom told her mom that they were sleeping together.
Ugh.
So she's like, this freaking rumor at school has now like infiltrated my home. Like,
yeah, and doesn't like the mom try to broker the sex talk? Like,
which is
for the second time.
Yeah, it's okay, but like, we just want you to have safe sex, kind of thing. Like, just trying to be cool about it. But like, of course, it blows up in her face, trying to do the right thing. Ugh.
So one thing that kept annoying me about this episode was the dean or principal kept interrogating Brian about what happened and like threatening suspension on him or expulsion if he didn't like tell the truth. And the whole time, I didn't say anything till the end to him. I'm like, are they allowed to do this without his parents there? Like question him constantly like this?
No.
The principal can question, but the second the police show up, it's adult only.
Correct. Well, like the parents should be there if at any point the police are going to question in any formal way. The parents got to be there, like the law, because he's a minor. But like, to me, like I was kind of shocked, Pikachu face a little bit, that they didn't feel like, what is this gun? Why are you standing right here by this gun when this gun went off? Like he was literally standing there when everybody showed up.
I thought everybody was going to think he shot it.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like I thought they would be like, "Yo, is this yours?" But the teacher was like, "Did you see what happened?" Like, oh, for real? Really? Like we're gonna go that route? Okay, I guess. But yeah.
But back when
he held on
in the bathroom, Angela was narrating that he has stomach issues, and I'm like, oh, so like he has IBS, and we just don't know what IBS is at this point.
She just does him dirty every chance she can get, man. Justice for Brian, okay? That's going to be my next one. Justice for Brian. He has done nothing wrong to this girl, literally nothing, and all she could do is slander his name in her thoughts. It's
he clearly has some kind of crush on her.
Literally in her thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
In her thoughts! Just roasted him. Oh, he's got tummy issues. Like, come on, man. You don't have
Weak. He could never love me. He has tummy
But
issues.
again, when she's too busy, worried about her own issues, because God forbid everybody thinks I have sex with someone. Ooh.
Mhm.
He is quite literally snitches get stitches. He is holding out. He saw stuff. He said he did not see nothing. Right?
Right.
Keeping it to the close to the chest. Doing Ricky a solid without even knowing Ricky. Like he kind of probably knows of him, but doesn't know him.
Rayanne kind of like whispers that to him, like, you better not
Yeah.
snitch. Like, so she knows,
Yeah.
Rayanne knows more than we're led to believe, because her and Ricky are besties.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right.
so where was I going with this? Oh, so Rayanne even like confronts Jordan to see if he started the rumor. And she's like, I just wanted to make sure, 'cause she's my friend. So that's what I mean. She seems to have no problem just like having her big ovaries, just be like, hey, did you start this rumor?
Right?
But so then Jordan like confronts Angela and he's like, I didn't start this. I just wanted you to know. And he's like, since everybody thinks that we did already, like, wouldn't it be funny if we just did it? And she's kind of like,
What?
she can't focus because there's like a thread
Wait,
loose
first
on
she can't focus because of his hot breath. Then in classic, the thread.
She's like, the corner of his collar, there was a thread like he's
he's poor.
And he literally went, ew.
Fuck you, bitch. That was me.
So I'm saying, how are we supposed to fall in love with this girl? Tell me. Like, how am I supposed to fall in love with this girl who, like, quite literally, but okay, so again, if we kind of give her a little bit of like leeway here, these are her innermost thoughts. Who hasn't thought like some out of pocket shit while you're like near someone that you would never say out loud? Like it's all internalized, like messed up stuff. We're hearing that right now, which makes me hate her.
Then she shouldn't have a show.
She shouldn't have a show. She shouldn't have cameras following her.
She should have cameras all around her, and with microphones in her ears, listening to her inner thoughts. Then.
You know what? We should be privy to this girl's head. Nobody wants to be inside of a 15-year-old girl's head. It's a hellscape in there. It's a hellscape in there. I grew out of it. I don't want to go back. But yes, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, you really love this guy, but you're commenting on how he would be poor now. Is that what we're doing?
Because
damn,
just when she every time, albeit the opportunities are totally inappropriate and cringy. So she wants to have her loins explored. And when she gets the opportunity for her loins to be explored, she looks at the thread on his, and he's poor, and she's able to shut it down. So I guess.
It's the moments of clarity of reality. Like her hit the ground, and then she's like, oh
no.
Should not do this.
I think when you're that age, when you're 15, I think you think you want like that fairy tale Disney movie Cinderella story love, and when it's not all like butterflies and and it gets real and this guy's like shoving his face in your face and you're like, whoa, like what is happening?
That's what I mean. Like it's like the bubble bursts, the fog dissipates for like a clearing of a second. And then she comes back to herself. That's why this like whole mess with the friends and the way she's acting, this is what like the hormones are doing to her brain, like chemistry.
That's why I really bought into the line that she just needs to want him. Like she just needs something to get through the day. Like she just needs that to hold on to, that unrequited love.
Fantasy, it's a dream. It's something that's perfect because it's something you made up.
Right.
And when she gets to know him more, that ruins the fantasy of it all.
Right.
And that little thread on his lapel or the shoulder of his shirt is the moment where she realizes who he, like what kind of person he actually is living, like what's his life actually like. Like when he to visit him at his house or meets his parents or something like that. It's like that's Jordan, not this thing that you made up in your mind.
Right. I think I don't know if she said she was in love with like oh my god, I'm so in love. But she said something along those lines, like, "Oh my god, I want him so bad," and then she started focusing on the thread. She was just like,
Exactly, because it's all lust. Like a lot of this is just pure, unfiltered hormones, right to the dome. Like there ain't nothing else, nothing blocking it. That's what they do. That's why teenagers do dumb stuff all the time.
It is definitely the prequel to the Hormone Monster for Big Mouth.
Yeah.
So she like is thrown off by his proposition to have sex, and she's just like, I'll think about it, and she like scurries off. The next day he kind of like apologizes and says, I shouldn't have like proposed that. He's like, you're obviously like not like other girls I'm used to hanging out with. And he basically is like, I'm not attracted to you like that. And I was just like, because her face, I was just like, great, love that.
Boys will be boys. So he was playing direct.
All this time.
Boys will be boys.
Girl, send me pictures of your tits. No, gross, ew. Oh, fine, you're a fat bitch anyway. Literally, like Taylor's on his time, you know, like never can go wrong.
Seriously.
Like if he's pulling your hair, he likes you.
It is so. We have really, my God, and we haven't even moved that much further from that archaic.
Yes, heterosexual men have not really grown much. It's dark times over here.
We don't need to. We die young.
So it's just, I thought it was pretty ballsy of him to even shoot his shot like that. Could you imagine just being like, so, you know, people are talking about it, so we might as well, you know?
I mean, clearly he has experience, so he's just like, all right, I get to have sex, whatever.
Right. I mean, like, also, don't we kind of love how Angela is inadvertently stringing him along in, like, the most manipulative way, but not on purpose? Like, she is being who she is, right? Yeah. But it's doing the work that she wants it to do unknowingly. She has no idea what she's doing.
She's unknowingly giving him blue balls.
Exactly. Like, she's being mysterious without trying. Right. Like, she's being different from everyone else while trying to be like everyone else. And it's really intriguing him and bringing him in for the ride, and which is what she wants. But like at the same time, had not made this intentionally at all. She didn't make no intentional decision one time.
Right. So we see Ricky hiding in a car. Apparently he does that every day because he can't make it through a whole day in that school.
Whose car?
That looked like the one that they took to the club. So maybe it's like his cousin's or Rayanne's. I don't know. It didn't look unfamiliar to me.
They just take cars.
So he kind of tells the real story. Apparently his cousin, who we keep hearing about, brought a gun to school and he freaked out on him and he dropped it and ran off. Apparently he peed his pants. And that was it. Oh, he brought it to sell it. I think that's what he said. His cousin brought it to sell it. And then he like freaked out, dropped it, peed his pants. And that was it. So he wasn't being bullied. He said he was fighting with him over it, and then that's how it fell. But we did see him getting pushed around throughout the episode.
Yeah, there was a couple of shitty ass.
There was even a scene where Rayanne kind of stepped in and like got in front of him, like, "Can I help you guys with something?" And I was like, yes, I remember those days where you had your girl that everybody wanted to sleep with, but they knew if they messed with you, that wasn't going to happen.
There's always one of them that is like, you mess around, you will find out.
Yes.
To be honest. I'm not gonna lie, my little sister was one of those people, and she always used to tell me all the time, be like, tell me who they are. I will find out for you. And I'm like, that is fine, don't worry. Get it on my own. It's bad enough. Smaller than me. I don't need her fighting my battles too, but yeah, man. Like she was the one. Don't even it's nice to know that there wasn't any nefarious intent about all that stuff, but still, real scary shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Greg even said to me, he's like, did they call him a faggot? I was like, yeah, they did. Yeah. Poor Ricky.
Poor Ricky. Don't worry. Don't worry. He's a doctor on a spaceship. His dreams will come true. He'll be fine.
Hey, go on, Ricky. Yes, get
he
it.
will be fine.
Yes.
And Brian basically tells the principal, you're gonna stop questioning me. He's like, because if you do it one more time, he's like, I'm going to sue you for harassment. He's like, I already told you what happened. He's like, I didn't see anything, leave me alone.
Thank you, Brian. Doing the work that nobody else will. Thank you, Brian. Justice for Brian. That's going to be a shirt I made. Justice for Brian. He deserves all the credit. It's so upsetting the way he gets treated. I hate
rewinding a little bit because I feel like I just remembered I missed a couple of important things. Oops. Angela was in the bathroom and she heard her ex-best friend talking to another girl about her sleeping with Jordan, and I was like, wow, she did make up the rumor, thinking that that's where they were going with this. But then the other girl's like, so she's like a whore, and her friend actually defends her and is like, no, she's not. So I was like, so there's still like, I care about you, even though we're not talking feelings there.
He's a decent human being that understands that they're all going through some wild ass homeroom bullshit that like it's is not her. Her person. She's changed. And eventually she'll come around to something different too, but not completely the same way.
And I think it's in that scene that we find out that Brian's the one that told her this story. That he said that like Jordan came to his house and they like had sex in his car outside his house. So this is the second important scene. Angela confronts him, first about protecting Ricky, and second about how he could make this rumor up about him. And this is where we've seen it, but you could see that he has some kind of a crush on Angela.
By him putting his head down, he was almost like, he said something like, I thought I saw, but I saw what I thought, like something like he saw the beginning, he saw the end, and he is just connecting the dots of what he thought, because he wants to be that's who he wants to be. He wants to be the really cool guy in the car giving away fake driver's licenses and making moves on girls. But
didn't he say something like, you hurt me or you destroyed me or something like that? And she was like, how did I do that? And he was just like, because word salad, and he doesn't know how to express his feelings.
Instead they were just putting a mouse in a beaker.
And honestly, she did what she did was messed up. She showed up at his house, basically made him feel unwanted in his own home, to then have some other dude show up just so she could get a fake ID. Like, it's not cool. Like, again, she treated him like garbage. She doesn't like consciously, I guess, understand that she's doing, or she does and she just doesn't care. Her less apathy for him for whatever reason, because she sees him as less than. And that will eventually change. But that's why it's like, I get why Brian would have made those connections, because it's what she really ultimately wanted. It's what they were all talking about in the kitchen when he was in the room. Like, and then so she goes out for an indiscriminate amount of time, and then he's jealous and mad and make up rumors. He is also a teenager who has no inhibition control over like the frontal lobe. So it's like, tit for tat is kind of what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, she does stuff, he does stuff. She does stuff, he does stuff.
So the last scene is kind of like after he told the principal off, and Ricky's pretty much cleared because he didn't say anything. And we see Angela, Brian, and Ricky walking a little spaced out, and everybody's kind of giving each other looks like, like in a way we're kind of friends, we just don't talk. Like, Brian's looking at Ricky, and they're just kind of like, we look out for each other, even though we don't really. We're like,
because it's always, whatever it is. It's the kids against the adults.
But Rayanne joins in, and they walk upon the entrance of the school, and there's now metal detectors, and that's how the episode ends. And I was like, wow, I forgot about metal detectors at the schools. And I just started thinking, like, before all of the mass shootings that came after this happened, was it just like it took an incident like this for the school to get metal detectors? Because not every school has metal detectors, even to this day.
No, but so mass shootings have been going on for quite some time. They've just been exponentially getting
more frequent,
just twice as bad and twice as frequent, because most of the perpetrators will study what happened beforehand, and the metal detectors, unfortunately, is just a false sense of hope, because most of the people that do it already are in there, know how to get in and know how to sneak in and know the loopholes. So it was a false sense. The metal detectors just made the adults feel better.
It's a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound, honestly.
Yeah, literally.
Like, it's not one of those things. Like, it was one of those things that people did to placate parents, to make them feel a little bit safer about sending their kids to public schools, but none of their government representatives did anything to actually stop guns from getting into the hands of people who shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why this episode was, like, a lot of triggering, because you're sitting there watching in the past how they handled these situations instead of actually doing anything about it, when we could have, when there was a little bit more of a chance, where people didn't have strongholds in the government as much as they do now, that, like, they could actually potentially pass something. But still, the 90s were a different time too, all on its own. They were dealing with their own political landscapes that again, it's like people who don't want to lose their jobs will do whatever it takes to stay in seats of power. This is an example of one of those things that happened from it.
And also, they didn't really know what to do. Like, we're looking at it with knowing what happened after, but like, this was new to people. They didn't know what was going to be the answer, so they were doing what they thought was best in that moment.
But you would have thought that, like, especially, well, right now, nothing horrific, I guess, has happened in the sense that, like, was nationally known. You know, but once kids were dying in their classrooms, you think that would have been enough for a lot of people to understand that we need to put some guardrails up somewhere on some point. And it's something. But that never happened because, you know, other people had their hands in other pockets of other people. That money, it's always money. It all comes back down to money. But what's wild to me is that I wasn't really thinking about the metal detectors as so much as Raylan's top underneath the flannel. There was no way in any school was she going to get not dress coded for that.
I saw that too, and I thought the exact same thing. She was wearing like a belt, like her belly was exposed, even though she had her flannel top on. Like, but yeah,
it was raw.
There's just no,
she would have gotten a ticket,
or they would have told her to button her flannel top,
right, or set her detention or something, or in suspension, because it's like, girl, you are not wearing a shirt. That is a bralette, a tank top, crop tank top, if you will. I love that's where my brain went.
I actually think back then they probably would have told Ricky to take his eyeliner off.
True story. Same. The earrings too. You peep the jewelry.
It was so. Yes. Only because sometimes it's really hard for me to comment on certain things living in New York or living in the tri-state area. It's really hard for me to kind of comment on things because the teachers might have said something, but they understood the concept of freedom of expression. So they would have given the kids the hard time about it, but not made them take it off, or maybe made them take it off, where I can't speak for Midwest. You know, like in the 90s, they might have made them take it off, because it's really hard. Because we're from New York. So as much as we were, not ahead of the game, but we were always one step ahead. Not,
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
No, I don't. I can't. I don't know. Like, I just honestly, I don't know how much. I feel like this is like leading up to something very serious. Like something seriously bad is going to happen, and they're gonna have to wrestle with like real world like situations, not like teen drama so much. I think we're gonna learn something about Jordan that we can't reconcile with the fantasy, maybe at one point or another. But yeah,
this feels different than like say like your CW shows or your WB shows
yeah,
where like it's all romantic and like who's my OTP? That's one true pairing.
yeah,
Like all about the romance. This feels like it's more rooted in like actual teen angst, how people actually
yes.
think, how people
Agree.
actually act, what was topical at that time. And I don't know what to expect, and I'm very nervous.
I know too. That's what I'm saying. I'm very nervous about like some real world messiness. I hope it doesn't go in the place that they tend to go, because it's like my worst nightmare for like any girl, like sexual assault, end up with sexual assault. I don't want that
Hmm.
because it's awful. But sometimes writers like to do that because it's like traumatizing for their protagonists to go through, and it's like a thing they can maybe move beyond or whatever, or not move beyond, depending on where the show's going. But I just I don't know.
And
Also, these parents need to get together.
I was gonna say what's different is these parents actually have storylines too,
True.
which was not something that happened back then around teen-centered shows. 90210
Yeah, like their
for like
parents.
the parents were in the background.
When was 90210?
90 to 2000, and the parents were gone by like season 5.
Yeah.
Don't exist. They disappear. It happens in a lot of anime too, like with like a
Does
lot
it?
of romance things. Yeah, centralized around a lot of high schoolers, and their parents are always just conveniently overseas, or just happen to have a lot of night jobs that like these kids with magical powers could somehow always end up doing things.
But all right,
But,
well, thank you for joining us for a very jam-packed, heavy episode of My So-Called Life. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.
Bye.